Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and welcome to episode 53 of the Let's Play series here down on Court Farms Country Park. So I hope you're all doing very well and having a lovely day. Right, well, since the last episode I've done a bit of a Marty McFly and I've flown forward in time several months, skipped the winter months, although technically I've not skipped them because there is a bit of work going on throughout those winter months, but for the sake of content and making a half decent video and not boring you guys to tears, it is a case of just rinse and repeat of feeding the cows, feeding the chickens, keeping the sheep topped up, and moving wool from one place to another, and essentially just repeatedly making feed mixes of Total Mix Ration. Yeah, there's not much content going on in that respect. It's a little bit dull in my personal opinion. But what I have obviously been doing throughout those winter months is exactly that. We've made a big dent in the bunker of silage, and obviously we've made well, we've only got a few bales left now. We've still got a few straw bales, I appreciate that, but hay bales we're quite quickly running out of now. We do have a completely full slurry pit. It's at 500,000 litres now. So yeah, I need to start making a dent in that. Look at that, properly full. But we have taken on one fertilising contract over in field 88, which is a field I think I did a harvest contract in quite a while ago. So we're going to be using the slurry for that fertilising contract. We're going to try and rid ourselves of a few litres of that stuff. But that's not happening just yet. That'll be happening in the near future. Finances wise, if I bring up the heads up display, you'll now see that we are on £171,088. That is obviously since November at the end of last year. That's when that's when the last episode took place. We're now in year 5, so we've got this pretty good going. I think we've been going for 5 years now, over 53 episodes, so that's pretty cool. Some of you may remember I had some loose silage bales set out in both of our grass fields, the grass field that we've got behind the cowshed there, and the bigger grass field that's over by the wool empire over there. All of those silage bales were sold. We got £53,356 for all of them, and throughout the winter months as well, I didn't actually do much pallet selling. Of the other products that we produce, whether the honey and the lettuces, but I did sell a handful of bread pallets. We got £9,735 for those. I think there are now more bread pallets to be sold, so they need to be dealt with. We do have a full shelving rack of honey, plus a couple more, so they need to be dealt with as well, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to have a handful of pallets of lettuces to get rid of as well. But speaking of pallets, the important thing pallet wise is the clothes. I have not touched, well, technically that's incorrect, I have touched them because I've been moving them out the way to allow more to spawn. But if I very quickly take ourselves over to the clothes, the tailor shop, now we turn ourselves around, we have got a ton of the stuff. We've got, I think we're knocking on the door of 70 pallets. So there's essentially 6 pallets per row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 60, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70. 70 pallets. So that's quite incredible, quite frankly. I've been a good lad. I've not been tempted to sell them ahead of time. Even though, now if I go into the wonderful time-saving stock check mod that I've had on here for a while, now, as you'll see there, it says the month to sell them in is May, and the max value that we will get for the clothes is 722,575 quid. But at the minute, we can get 722,535. So, I mean, what's that? That's a difference of 40 quid between now and max value. So now's as good a time as any. I'm not going to quibble over 40 quid for the difference of waiting for a month. So that's what we're going to do. And obviously, if you will look at that, 722,537 quid. That's a lot of money. Plus the 171 that we've got at the minute. That makes even more money. So that's going to be the first job of today. We are going to jump in the Massey here. And we're going to go and hook up to our flatbed trailer. I am going to obviously load up as many of those pallets onto one trailer load as I can. And we're going to make an enormous amount of money. I think that is going to be, aside from when many episodes back when I went around finding all the collectibles and doing all that, I think this will be the next most amount of money that we'll have ever had on this series, on this save. So that's amazing. And obviously knowing that I was going to be coming into a reasonable amount of money, I have been thinking about how to spend it, because why wouldn't you? It's an enormous amount of money. So my thoughts regarding that are, first and foremost, onwards again, we're in April, so we're now in planting season for the corn, soybeans and sunflowers. So I do have a planter, but it has a pathetic small hopper load of seeds. It is a 6 meter wide thing, but as I say, the hopper is a couple of 100 litres. And having used it already to plant the corn, I remember it being quite frustrating, because you literally run a couple of rows and you're out of seed and you've got to keep filling up. So I'm going to treat the farm to a nice new planter. I've got one in mind. Let's have a look actually. Let's have a quick look. So into here. Yeah, it's this Lemken thing. So it's a 6 meter wide thing again, because I still personally feel 6 meter wide implements are just perfect on this map. But we're going to buy the rear planting implement here, and we're going to buy the front hopper as well. So 2,600 litres of seed we'll be able to have going on in one go, and that's going to total just over about £70,000. But of course, that also means once we get rid of all these clothes, I'm going to be able to pay off every single penny of our debt. I think that's an excellent thing, considering how much debt we have been in, and we still are in. I think we're still. Again, let me just jump into the menu. Forgive me. Loan system. So 300, just over £300,000. So we're going to be able to pay all of that off. We're going to be able to we'll sell the old seeder that we've literally only used once, treat ourselves to that nice shiny blue Lemken planter, sorry, not seeder, planter. And we're still going to be left over with a decent chunk of money. Now, I haven't obviously calculated exactly what we're going to be left with there, but it's going to be a lot. And I am considering, because... sorry, my mind's gone there. What am I doing? Yes, a forage harvester, a proper one, a big one, possibly. Because another thing that I have done between the last episode and this one is I have removed the better contracts mod, because personally I don't think I was really taking full advantage of the benefits that some of that mod can give you, i.e., you know, doing more and more contracts for a particular person and then getting discounts on land and this, that and the other. Obviously we've got a decent chunk of land with the farm anyway now. But yeah, I don't think I was really taking advantage of everything that mod had to offer. But the one mod that I have been keen to get activated, and I couldn't because of the better contracts mod, is the forage contracts mod. So that is now activated in the game. In fact, let's just reverse this up a little bit closer, shall we? So yeah, better contracts is now turned off. Forage contracts is turned on. Having never used the forage contracts mod before, going into the contracts menu, there are no forage contracts currently available. But I'm hoping they should turn up. I suppose I may as well disable this supply and transport one as well, because I don't really use much of that either, really. Yeah, possibly anyway. Yeah, so that's what I've done, as I say. So, but obviously, so I'd like to get doing a few more forage contracts. But obviously, our forage harvester, which is a great mod, it's a wonderful thing, but the header is pitifully small, and it does take quite a long time to get the jobs done in a field of a half decent size. And as I'd like to do more of them, possibly, especially now as obviously we're going to be planting our corn soon, and I'd like to obviously get using the forage harvester a bit more. But as I say, ours is a bit small, so I might be able to invest in a nice big one, possibly. we'll have to see how much money we're left over with once we've sold all these clothes, paid off all of our debt, bought ourselves a new planter. We'll see what we're left over with. We'll go from there. So, this is obviously going to take me a good few minutes to try and neatly stack all of these pallets. So, I shall put you down for a few moments. I'll see how... I am going to see if I can get them all on in one go. That would be quite ridiculous. But, just for a giggle. Right. See you soon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you one of the most ridiculous things I've ever done on Farming Simulator? 70 pallets of clothes. Admittedly, I've had to take it particularly slowly. And surprisingly, it actually went under most of the trees. I did have to, once or twice, just edge into the hedge, as it were, just to give myself the space between me and a relatively low-hanging branch. But here we go. Let's see what we're going to get from this. This would be amazing if I get all this in one go, won't it? So, oh, that money, look at it. Oh, boom, boom, boom. Oh, come on, what? Oh, give us it in one go. 412 plus 42, 456. So hang on, let me just jot that down. 42, 462, 28, 662. Oh, it's gone too fast for my nightmare. Anyway, we've got a whole load of money. If we go into the finances, where's the money screen? It won't give us the environmental score reward though, will it? But well, there you go. Sold products, £722,064. And if we go into here, oh, it's gone now, isn't it? There we go, ladies and gentlemen. £967,427. Wow. Okay. Right. Let's just turn that off for a minute. That's incredible. So, we've done all that ourselves, essentially, just from our sheep. That's where that's all stemmed from. The future could be bright. The future could be quite bright here on Home Farm after all that, because, I mean, that was... So what, November, December, January, February, March. So 5 months. We've been able to gather together pretty much 800,000 quid's worth of clothes, give or take a quid or two. That's incredible. Right, so first things first, we need to start with our debt. So we're going to make a special redemption of this one, 117175. Click in there, 117175. Yep. There we go. Right, so that's that one paid off, and now special redemption. 194913. 194913. Done. There we go. We are debt free completely, and we now have £655,339. Do you know what? Round of applause, if I don't say so myself. I'm really, really chuffed with that. We paid off, well, essentially 500,000 quid's worth of debt, including the last one we paid off, or just under 500,000 quid's worth of debt, much earlier than the bank was expecting us to. So that's good news, isn't it? That's going to do wonders for our credit rating, if we had one. Right, okay. Debt-free. A good feeling. Getting into debt isn't something I've really ever done much on Farming Simulator. Even before starting this YouTube thing, I never really did that. So the fact that I've been able to get quite savagely into debt and pay it off early, I'm really quite proud of. So we're going to get ourselves back to the farm. We are going to place an order for our Lemken planter, which we're going to go and pick up in the John Deere. In fact, what we'll do is we'll take the older one down to the dealership and sell that there, because obviously we'll get a couple more quid than what we'd get if we just sold it through the menus. Admittedly, it's not a huge amount, don't get me wrong. I suppose I don't really need to worry about bothering about an extra 20 or 30 quid, but just to say that we did it correctly. Right, let's just abandon that there for now. Let's go and get the deer. And the planter. It's a shame, really, because the planter is actually a John Deere, so on the back of this thing, colour-wise, it'd look right, but size-wise, it wouldn't. I think this is well oversized for this wee planter now. And I know we've only used it once, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that, but I think now we've got the money to, I think it would be a wise investment to throw a few quid at a planter that has a much bigger capacity. Right, okay. I've always wondered why those red bars appear around the tools. It's to do with courseplay, I appreciate that, but just when you pick up certain tools and when you jump in a vehicle, sometimes they just they appear. Oh goodness, can I get this down here? Oh, I must be able to, because I've got it down here in the first place, haven't I? There we go. Right, so I shall trundle down to the shop, and I'll see you all there in a few moments. Right, here we are. Oh, in fact, actually thinking about it, to bring up the menu, I want to unload the seed, don't I? There we go. Yeah, there's only a few hundred litres, I appreciate that, but we paid for it nonetheless. So, let's... Is this going to work? Maybe? Nope. I suppose I should have reversed this in, shouldn't I? But if I do that, at least jump out, go to there. Right. Yes, I want to sell it. Thank you. Excellent. Right. Let's get out of here. Let's go and place ourselves an order for our new Lemken, and I'll see you in a few moments. There we go. New bit of kit down on the farm. I'm quite excited about that. Very well to get all that, I feel. So, let's hook it all up. Now, as I said before, regarding how else we're going to spend what we've got, obviously we're now at 592,000, so the consideration to get hold of a much bigger and better forage harvester, I think is quite a good idea. I am hoping that I've not missed anything or made any mistakes by activating the better contract, the forage contracts mod. Where are we with that? So, nope, right, okay, excellent stuff. We'll lift that up, fold it up. Oh, that looks awesome. Wouldn't you agree? Hopefully. Well, let's not forget our little bit of seed that we've got left over here. Refill, there we go. Thank you very much. Yep, awesome stuff. Right, so I suppose we could do this while we're here, couldn't we? In fact, no, I need to bring the other forage harvester down here, don't I? And get as much as I can for that. Bring that and its header down here. As I said before, it is a great mod. It's a wonderful little thing. But after the experience I had in what was my big cornfield, that took forever. Not entirely down to the width of the header of the forage harvester. I appreciate that. There was a lot of tractors and trailers and forage harvesters getting tied in knots and, you know, not doing what they were meant to do because I was running auto drive and course play. But I'd like to think with a much bigger, wider header, and I think one of the ones I'm going to consider is their base game stuff, so they should work, I want to say, perfectly. I don't want to sound naive. I have used courseplay and auto drive so very much over the last couple of years that I know that forage harvesting can be a little bit of a difficult one, but I'm prepared to give it another go with a much nicer piece of equipment. Look at that though, I'm chuffed with this purchase, I really am. I did consider there was a Horsch variant that came with the same thing. It had like a front mounted hopper and the rear planter, but they were, I think the rear bit was about the same price, maybe a little bit more, but the front hopper was considerably more expensive with less of a capacity, so that's why I've gone for this Horsch one. The front hopper on this thing is 2,000 litres. The Horsch one was 1,600, I think, so, and this was only 8 grand. The Horsch one was 19 and a bit, so anyway, there we go. Right, welcome to the farm, planter. An awesome looking thing. Yeah, really happy with that. Brilliant stuff. Right, anyway, the spending spree is not finished, so let's run round. Let's pick up our once used forage harvester, stick the header on it, we'll take that down to the shop, get rid, and revel in another purchase of a beautifully modern and pretty large, albeit selfish, forage harvester. When we bring that in here and park it up in here, it's going to make this thing look very dated, isn't it? But this ain't going anywhere. I love this mod. And following on from the other day when I was very fortunate to attend Lemma, I finally got to meet Mr. Mark Thor in person. So if you are watching this, mate, thank you so much for this mod, and all your other mods for that matter. This one in particular, though, I absolutely adore it. It is an absolute beast. Anyway, right, let's get this old thing sold down to the shop. Might have to create a bit more space in here, though, wouldn't I? Because if I do buy one of the two that I've got my eyes on, it's going to take up a wee bit more room. So I'll see you down at the shop in a few moments. Right. Time to get rid. So we want rid of... Let's just repair it for £1, shall we? Yeah. And then we sell that for 5,929. Repair that for £4 and sell that for, what's that, 21,834. Yep, okay. That'll do. So we're now sat at 619,841. So, as before, I'm going to go inside and place an order for a gigantic piece of machinery. Now, don't get me wrong, I know I don't need this right this second. We haven't got any foraging contracts available in the menu, and I obviously don't have any corn or any other crops to forage harvest at all. But while I've got the money, and while I've made this successful clothes selling spree, I'm going to do it anyway. And also because I do feel at the minute the way that the productions are going, especially with the clothes, as I said before, we stand in line to make a lot of money now in the future. Every few months, if I'm making £700,000-800,000, if I can be patient, as it were, and let those clothes build up every few months, fire off a chunk of them and make a huge amount of money, our empire is going to increase in size quite dramatically. I'm going to be able to buy more land. How I'm going to carry on this, I'm not too sure. I'm going to have to give it a bit of thought, but whether we... Well, I don't know. Something that went through my mind was maybe I'll start placing down, again, the grass field that's over by the wool empire. Maybe I'll start building a few more buildings on that, a few more sheds, and I can start building up a bit more of an inventory of some big equipment. I'll be able to do a lot more work around the map. I don't know, I'm just thinking on the spot here, but anyway. Let's go spend some money. Right. Here we are, everyone. Yet another shiny piece of equipment, but look at the size of this. Although I'm hopeful that it's not too big. I have even spec'd it with the wider tyres, but I know it's not a combine harvester, it's a forage harvester, but it does look to be wide enough to fit through the gates of most of the fields on this map. I hope I don't live to eat my words in that respect, and I have also gone for the 7.5 metre wide header with the fence attachment for it, obviously. So, what a thing. This is excellent, it really is. There we are. It's certainly a little bit more modern than that old thing we had, and on top of that, not that it's of any importance whatsoever, but the mud mask of this one will be hopefully be a bit better. Now, I do have manual attach on, so I do. There we go. PTO and cables. There we go. But yeah, foraging fields with this thing is going to take considerably less time than what it would with that old S2200. Look at that. And I did spec it. I spec'd it with the mid-size pipe. There was a short pipe, an extra long, and a long, and I've gone for the long, just because I didn't think we really needed the super long one. There we go. Right, back to the farm so we can do some actual farming today, shall we? We're going to get on with our planting. We have some corn, soybeans, and sunflowers to get into the ground. So let's get cracking. Well, this is pretty good for reversing, isn't it? Good vision. There we go. Back at the farm. What a thing. Hooked that quite tight to the right-hand side there, haven't I? Right, anyway. I've just realised a mistake I've made. I wish I would go at least one episode without making a silly mistake. Today is actually the next day in real life from filming the last clip and the last few segments. I've jumped back into the game, flicked through the vehicles obviously, knowing what I did yesterday, buying the new equipment, and it's made me realise that this Lemken was a bit of a mistake, because my whole purpose of buying this thing was to increase the hopper size of seed, so that I can essentially seed my bigger fields, for example the big field over there, field 57, hopefully in one go. This hopper doesn't accept seeds. This is a fertilizer hopper. It does actually, it is joined together underneath the tractor via those pipes, as you can see. Because I jumped into the vehicle, I didn't actually see those immediately, and I thought, oh, shouldn't this thing be joined to that thing with a big pipe? I was expecting the big one to go, you know, around the outside, on the outside of the tractor, like some of them do. But either way, that just made me have to take a quick check, and sure enough, I bought the wrong thing, haven't I? Well, it's not the wrong thing, it will work fine, but the hopper of the seeds in the back is still only a few hundred litres, and this thing is just purely for fertiliser. What am I like? Idiot. So, I'm going to take this back, I'm going to pretend like it didn't happen. I'm going to buy the Horsch one that I mentioned, which does have the capacity to take seeds and fertiliser, but I'll be using it just for seeds. I'm going to, as I say, I shall write the finances. I'll pretend like I never did this, financially anyway. And I'll be back at the farm in a few minutes with the correct piece of machinery that I wanted. And we will crack on with our planting. Right, this, I think, should be the correct piece of equipment that I wanted. As you can see the join together between the front tank and the rear planter. Now those of you who know just as much about this as anyone else will appreciate that I have spec'd this rear piece of equipment with the fertilising technology, even though I have no intention of using this for fertilising and seeding at the same time. Reason being, if you equip it without the fertilising attachment technology bit, it doesn't join itself together with the front hopper, visually anyway. I have just tested it out a couple of times. I've manually just filled up the rear hopper, the rear bit and the front bit, without the fertilising attachment bit, that big bit with the hoses that sticks up at the back. And even though you can combine the total of seed into one go in the bottom right corner of the screen, it didn't visually join itself together, and to me that doesn't sit right. It should if I'm planning on using seed from the back and seed from the front, it should still be joined together, and the only way of doing that was to have this fertilizer bit attached at the back. So that's why this is now spec'd the way it is. Anyway, right. It has cost me a couple more pounds. As I say, this thing was just shy of 20 grand, as opposed to the Lemken one, which was 8. But that's obviously for a reason, because it was just a fertiliser hopper and not a seed hopper. So, right. Let's get ourselves back to the farm and actually get on with a bit of farming. We're going to use this thing straight away. We're going to fill it up with our seed, and we're going to get into the fields and get cracking. I don't know which one I'm going to do first. I haven't decided that bit yet. Now that I have corrected my mistake, we can crack on. Right, let's get this lot filled up. That's the back bit done. Now, as you can see, I have connected our new planting system up to the Massey, just because it's red, and the Massey is red, and I think it just looks better. So, visuals are quite important to me, as it were. I think it just looks a bit better. The Massey's capable of doing the job, using the machinery. So yeah, let's get this lot topped up, and then we will crack on. I think I'm going to start in what I think is the biggest field, biggest of the 3 fields we need to get planted, which is 57 over there. I think I am, now that we do have the bigger forage harvester, I am going to start in that field, and I'm going to put corn back into it. I think that would be a good idea. There we go. Right. What a thing, though. I do love the animations of the... check that out. How cool is that? There we go. Right. So, for the first time in today's episode, ladies and gentlemen, let's do some actual farming, shall we?
To be yours, and you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you. I'm not coming down. Ain't nobody like you. I could go 1,000 miles as long as I'm with you. Yeah, you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you. Talking about yourself and you make me smile. I can listen all night long. I tell you about the time when I first met you, listening to our favorite song. Walking on the street when you caught my eye. Something about the way you move. No, there ain't nobody like. There ain't nobody like. So lucky to be yours. And you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you. I'm not coming down. Ain't nobody like you. I could go 1,000 miles as long as I'm with you. Yeah, you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you. 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 Jump into the car on a Friday night. I wanna drive with you. Looking for a bar in the nearest town. I've never seen a sky so blue. And you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you. I'm not coming down. Ain't nobody like you. I could go 1,000 miles as long as I'm with you. Yeah, you're taking me high. Ain't nobody like you.
Awesome work. Job done. Cornfield drilled. And we have 19% of our seed left across our 2 hoppers. So that's a good result. This being the biggest field I think we own. So knowing that I can get all of this field drilled in one go with this particular planter means I know that I can get pretty much every other field if I choose to put corn, soybeans or sunflowers into them. I can get it all done in one go. So that's brilliant. Really quite happy with the performance of this new piece of kit. It's a lovely thing, and it's actually 6.7 meters wide, so it's slightly wider than the 6 that I was initially going for with that blue Lemken. So yeah, really happy with it. Really happy with it. It's a lovely thing. I think I am in the next field I drill. I'm just for the sake of variety and testing things out, I'm going to use the John Deere. There was a couple of occasions as this was driving along that it felt like the planter at the back was kind of dragging quite low in the ground, and that the steering of the Massey went a bit funny, and it started to kind of drag to the side for a little bit, only very slightly, and then it seemed to correct itself. But I don't know whether that's a size thing or a weight thing of this thing over the back. Power wise, obviously the Massey's got more than, both of our tractors have got more than enough to handle this thing, but the John Deere is obviously frame wise it's a bit of a bigger machine, so I'm going to give that a try and see how it performs there. But yeah, as I say, cornfield drilled. We do need to give it a top up of nitrogen. Obviously this was one of the 3 fields that we did the oilseed radish in, so we are currently sat here in this particular spot. As you can see there in the bottom right hand corner, the nitrogen is at 135 kilograms per hectare out of a needed 200, so there will only be a mild top up with the solid fertilizer with the spreader, but that is obviously one of the reasons why I didn't want my planting stroke seeding machines to do fertilizer, because I've got the Kubota Geo spread fertilizer spreader thing, the 42 meter implement, and I'm happy to keep on doing that. I know that I could do fertilizing with this thing as we established before, but this is kind of my preferred method of doing it. Do the seeding in one job and the fertilizing in another if needed. So yeah, but obviously yeah, we need to get this rolled. We need to top up the nitrogen, and as we can see in the menu there, it's we have some weeds growing as well, so I'm going to have to run the weeder as well. But that's going to be for the next episode, or potentially. I think we're going to crack on with the drilling first. We're going to get the other 2 fields drilled. This one's obviously corn. The other 2 one of them is going to be soybeans. One of them is going to be sunflowers. But yeah, as I say, that's going to be in the next episode, because I'm pretty sure this one has run its course, as it were, time-wise. I'm sure we're way north of half an hour, I think, at least. So yeah, I do hope you have enjoyed this video, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. I do apologise for my silly mishaps, my idiotic mistakes. Buying the wrong piece of equipment initially. I know that was it was just a silly mistake. I suppose I was just a bit giddy with all the money that we had in the bank and thinking, oh, what can I get, you know, knowing I was considering getting a whopping great forage harvester and upgrading the planter. I spent too little time just looking at the fine details, and as I say, when I came back into the game today to carry on recording the episode, sure enough, I'd made a silly mistake. So rectified, that's all that matters. We've still got 100 grand in the bank, so that's pretty good going for how this series has progressed, and you know, to have been able to spend such a large amount of money and still be left with 100 grand in the bank is a wonderful thing. Whilst that job has been doing and I've been recording it and stuff, considering the next expansion on the farm, land-wise at least anyway, there's a big field down here that I quite like the look of. It's accessible, kind of accessible from our farm. We can get to it through this field here that's on the left, on the other side of this hedge. So obviously this field is ours here. That's going to be one of the ones that we drill in the next episode or so. But yeah, there's this episode as well. This field as well, sorry. Episode, goodness me. Yeah, this field as well that I quite like the look of. It's quite big. It's good size. If we pop into the land menu, yeah, field 55. This has a value of £193,608. So it's a consideration anyway. I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to go for it. It's just a consideration. Knowing that, as I said before, that in the future, because of our clothes production, we're very likely going to be landing into half-decent sums of cash now and again. I'm just spending it before I get it, essentially. Anyway, I'm sure you've had enough of my dulcet tones for one episode. So, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time watching the episode, watching the video. I really hope you've enjoyed it and found it even remotely fun and interesting. As always, if you're new to my channel, you like my content, you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and joining the channel. Giving the video a like if you can. Hitting that like button does go a long way to helping the channel grow and doing the YouTube algorithm thing. And as always, there are a host of links in the video description below with my Giants Partner promo code if any of you are in the market for a DLC, an add-on, a season pass, or even the full game itself, and you fancy helping a content creator out at the same time as making a purchase, I would be massively appreciative, as always. So, thanks again everyone, and I shall see you in the next episode.
Thank you.